Good evening again, everyone, distinguished Nigerians in the diaspora and within Nigeria, of course, across the world. Welcome to the People's Parliament, a bi-monthly discussion of topical issues and how to move Nigeria forward in the journey to achieve good governance and better citizen welfare. I'm your host, Anike Adefunke Treasure, a broadcast journalist, author, speech and leadership coach. Our esteemed panelists are here already, at least one of them, and it's my pleasure to welcome Aisha Yesufu, activist, businesswoman, and CEO of Citizens Hub, and Seun Kuti, who was billed to be here, is unfortunately held up in transit. So we will play something from him and see if he could join us before the end of the event. But this is a warm welcome to everyone. Are you ready to network? If you are, I see Aisha already. It's good to see you again, sister.
Thank you so much for having me.
One wave to you. Yeah, so if you're ready to mingle and network this evening, give me a yes in the chat box. Let me see your yes. Yes, we're ready to mingle. Right, a quick ground rule. We're going to give our panelists, hopefully Sean may be able to join us. We'll give them 1 hour to, thank you, Tomi Adeyemi. We'll give them 1 hour to relate with us and talk to us about the topic for today, which is what must change for Nigeria to work, practical steps. Thank you very much, Biodun Drojai. I can see your yes there. Thank you so much. I know that more people will be joining us as we progress. Quick ground rules. When it's your turn to speak, please make it as brief as possible. And when you're leaving comments, please make your comments also brief and readable. Right. And when you want to speak, please show your hand and I'll recognize you. I'll be noting and acknowledging your comments as we progress. What is Rescue Nigeria? Rescue Nigeria is a movement. It is not affiliated to any political party. It is not also affiliated with any political group. It's a growing movement of people unified by their common goal of building a strong and successful nation out of the ruinous experiments that Nigeria looks like today. The big idea for Rescue Nigeria is a Nigeria with the potential to succeed, and that which is bigger and stronger than the tendency to fail. The vision of the movement is to bring together millions of educated Nigerians like you and me, serving as opinion leaders for the rest of the society to work towards making citizens self-aware of their own responsibilities and of course the demand for a better and functioning society. The mission of Rescue Nigeria is to create a massive body of politically sophisticated citizens who place the demand on elected leaders and are rewarded with good governance. Finally, the central value is simple. Good citizenship from ordinary people is the driver for good leadership. But is that the case in Nigeria today? Definitely not. Wale Croft will be speaking more to that later on as we progress. Suffice to say that Rescue Nigeria is not affiliated to any political party whatsoever. Right, so I move on to the introduction of our distinguished panelist. She is no stranger in Nigeria nowadays. She's worth her weight in gold. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's my singular honor to welcome one of our panelists, a businesswoman and CEO of Citizens Hub. Please join me in welcoming Aisha Yesufu. Let me see your welcome in the chat box. Welcome, Aisha. Aisha she's an active Nigerian citizen who demands for good governance, accountability, and transparency. And if you've been following, if you're a regular user of Twitter, you know that she is fiery and fierce, and she does not mince words about her views on how to move Nigeria forward. She's totally unapologetic about it, always standing for justice and equity. She teaches financial literacy to empower people to be financially literate and independent. She's a member of the hashtag Bring Back Our Girls movement, advocating for the rescue of the Chibok girls abducted in 2014. She's the immediate past chairperson of the strategic team of that movement. And that's not all. Aisha Yesufu was part of the hashtag EndSARS protests that took place in Nigeria recently, which was aimed at putting an end to police brutality. We all know how it ended. But yes, Aisha Yesufu was dubbed the Statue of Liberty for her courageous stance in defying the attacks on citizens by the police during the protests. That she was also named one of BBC 100 Women 2020. And that's a list of 2020 100 inspiring and influential women from around the world for that year. She's also a Stanford Draper Hill's Summer Fellow and a contributor to the book of essays, Remaking Nigeria, 60 Years, 60 Voices. So no doubt, Aisha Yesufu is one of the leading voices on politics, governance and accountability in Nigeria. We are honored to have you here, Aisha.
Thank you so much, Funke. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you. In absentia, I'm going to also read briefly the profile of our second panelist, Seun Kuti, the youngest son of Afrobeat pioneer, Fela Kuti. Seun Kuti spent most of his life preserving and extending his father's political and musical legacy as the leader of Egypt 80. Incidentally, Seun Kuti was born in the 80s and now he leads the Egypt 80. All right, if he joins us before the end of the session today, I will do another introduction. For now, let me pan back to Aisha Yesufu. It's the morning after PDP presidential primaries, and a nation is having a review. Since morning, we've been having a review of what happened yesterday. Let me quote former what do I call it, presidential candidate Peter Obi. He said, and I quote, "Businessmen are looking for dollars to run their businesses, while aspirants to high office are spraying dollars to woo delegates to vote for them." That's Peter Obi. And on that note, I'm going to start with Aisha Yesufu today as we reflect on and talk about what must change for Nigeria to work. Today, we're looking at the practical steps. Aisha, let me have your opening thoughts.
Thank you so much, Funke. Thank you, Rescue Nigeria, for having me. It's really a pleasure being here. I would say that there's nothing surprising about yesterday's primaries. It is what it is. It is what to be expected when people give up of their powers. And that's what has happened in Nigeria. We have a situation whereby the Nigerian people have decided that they are powerless. And of course, according to Stephen Biko, the greatest weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the minds of the oppressed. And the moment the people believe that they are powerless, indeed those who are in power, we continue to make them powerless and act with impunity. So we have a situation whereby the citizens do not matter. So and we have a lot of citizens who come out to say that, oh, it's only APC or PDP that can win election. And of course, those who are in politics, those parties, they hear them loud and clear. And they are going to give to those whom they know they can manipulate, or those who they know that they will do their bidding rather than the bidding of the nation. The day that Nigerians are sick and really truly tired of bad governance in Nigeria is the day that we are all going to come together and begin to vote in people irrespective of their culture, their religion. We'll begin to vote based on competence, character, and capacity. But as it is right now, we're still on the way. But the beautiful thing about it is the fact that history is so slow when you're living it. I always look at the issue of Nelson Mandela and think about the fact that he spent 27 years in prison before he came out and he became the president of South Africa. Imagine what it was for those 27 years, how long they were. The first day, the first week, the first month, the first half year, the first decade, the second, and up to 27 years. And he came out, he did that. So why while you're living, history is actually very slow. But there's something beautiful that is happening in Nigeria right now is the fact that a lot of young people are more interested and more invested in politics. And I look at myself, I'm 48 years old right now. If I was more interested in politics the way most of them who are in their early 20s are, Nigeria definitely would have been a better place than it is today. So there's something great and amazing going on in the fact that the youth of Nigeria today are no longer waiting to be the leaders of tomorrow. They want to be the leaders of today. They want to be in charge. They have learned from the failures of the generation ahead of them who sat down and were waiting to be leaders of tomorrow. And tomorrow came, they were nowhere to be found, and nobody's ready to give them that leadership. And so these are some of the things that we can appreciate. And I'll just round up here by saying that nothing good comes easy. You have to work for it. Life is not a pizza man. It doesn't do delivery. If we want good governance in Nigeria, if we want competent people with character and capacity occupying offices, public offices, then we have to put in the work. We have to volunteer to work during campaign. We also have to put in our money. We must put our monies where our votes are. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great opening speech there, Aisha. I take it history is so slow when we're living it. That's a thoughtful one. That's one to really think about. I like the fact that you've talked about young people being more interested in the political well-being of Nigeria today, and the fact that nothing good comes easy. Great thoughts there. Now let's look at, let's start from what happened yesterday with the dollar battle between politicians and their cash and carry delegates. Do you think that there is change in sight? Because today we're talking about what must change for Nigeria to move on to be the place we want it to be. With the scenario yesterday, the dollar battle and the cash and carry delegates, just 774 delegates determining the future of a nation. What are your thoughts now?
So my thoughts on that is the fact that it is what it has always been, even before yesterday's primaries, is the fact that if the Nigerian people want things to change, then the Nigerian people must be ready to take control of the situation. If parties come, and for me, that's why, for me, going for the 2023 election and even the last 2019 election, it's about candidates and not parties. The moment Nigerians begin to vote in candidates and not parties, and not just sit down and say that, oh, it's only party A and B that can win election, and begin to actually look for who are the people who have competence, character, and capacity, and give them those votes, all of this issue of delegate power will be lessened. If a party does not give the citizens the kind of candidate that they are looking for, then they should punish that party. How do you punish that parties? You punish parties by not voting for them. But a situation whereby you see people who are either voting for lesser evil, and one of the things is that lesser evil in opposition will always be monstrous evil in power. There's nothing about choosing from lesser evil. We've done that before, and it's not something that Nigeria should be looking at revisiting again. And so what we should be looking at is to look for the best amongst the best. And so that power, Nigerians need to get that power back, take ownership and say that any party, like I've said before, any party that it's not giving the people the candidate that the people are deserving that they want, then that party should be punished. Let's not forget that, and I've said this several times, every APC, PDP, YPP, Labour Party, SDP, whatever it is that you call it, they all have they have candidates with character capacity, candidates that can lead the nation whatever position that they find themselves. But most times these candidates are not given the tickets because they know the people in the party, the power brokers in the party know that when these candidates get into office, they are not going to do their bidding. So they're going to look for the incompetent ones that they can control. And at the end of the day, if we allow people who are running for office to be the ones to use their monies to run their campaign, then what we'll continue to have is people who have looted our commonwealth that will continue to perpetuate themselves in office or perpetuate their stooges. And that's what we are having currently.
Indeed, that's what we're having at the moment. I mean, we've read accounts of different the the amounts that changed hands yesterday. And we also heard the story of a particular journalist who was also contesting, who didn't have the dollars to spend, but, sprayed, in quote now, copies of his magazines. And I bring that to the issue of monetized delegates and a group of delegates who are Nigerians, but are not interested in representing the rest of the people. How can this change? You talked about punishing the parties, getting the power back. Right now, it's the politics of the money bags. Unlike what we had in the times of the Tafawa Balewas of this world, of Nigeria in the past. It's the money bags. How can this change?
I think one of the things, I think we romanticize the past a lot. And so for every time that we go ahead, we look back at the past and like, oh, okay, it was so much better. It was never better. They had their own issues. They had a little bit of their money issues and also the tribalism issue and stuff like that. It's something that we've come with all along this year, and we have to be mindful of that also. So what the issue of since 1999 so far, we've had election that has not really been free and fair. You have a lot of malpractices and stuff like that, and it's been going on and it's been becoming more brazen. Let me just talk about the issue of a magazine being shared. There's no difference between the person who shared magazines and the person who shared dollars. It's the same thing. Corruption is corruption, irrespective of the way you look at it. What is wrong? It's wrong. You don't bring things, inducement. You don't induce people during election. And I always say to people, everything is about opportunity. The person who stands in front of a traffic light and sees red and beats that red is the same as the person who is in office, who has opportunity and uses biro to steal billions. Everything is about opportunity. And that's the thing that people need to understand. One of the greatest problems that we have is the fact that the people, the mindset of the people, the values of the people align with these politicians that we are looking at. We're sitting down in our sanctimonious thrones and saying that, oh, they are all corrupt, they are all this. Many people want to be like them. You have a country where people are actually putting their children to go and learn how to defraud people. There are Yahoo schools in Nigeria. There are parents who are forming associations, who are doing forming prayer groups for their children, whom they know are defrauding people, are what they call 419ers. And they're doing all of these things for them. Are those the people that you think they are not expecting corrupt people to come so that the business will continue as usual? We need to understand. I think it was listening to Pastor Sam Adeyemi recently where he talked about meeting, I think it was the overseer of Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Adeboye. They met in a flight and they were talking and they were saying to him, oh, politics, why is it that the church is not involved in politics and all of that? Why are you not in politics? And he said something. If there's going to be an election and then the robbers, for example, armed robbers are the ones who are going to really vote, and there's a policeman that is running for office and another person, do you think the armed robbers are going to vote for the policeman or woman? They're not going to, because they're going to vote for the ones that they know that we allow them. So we have an issue of values also that most of us do not look into. And that's why I always say to people, don't assume that because this politician is so corrupt, and everybody knows that this politician is so corrupt, that the politician will not get votes. There are people whose lifetime ambition is to be like that politician, to also get into office and loot and steal. To the extent we've reached a place, we have an anomaly where it is people who actually serve the nation diligently and honestly and do not steal money that are being mocked in our society today. So there's a bit of value issue. So those are also some of the things that we need to understand. Then the thing that we need to do, there's a tyranny of the minority. Yes, corruption is going on, but there are a lot of people who are not into all of these corrupt practices. But guess what is happening? They are being shut down. Their voices are being shut down. They will have people who have served in public offices who have left there with their character intact, who haven't done anything wrong. But we have them being mocked by Nigerians, and other Nigerians just look away and do nothing. We must begin to stop that. We must begin to ensure that the people who have done the right thing are the ones that we are applauding, are the ones we are putting at the forefront, and for everybody to know that as long as we continue with this, it's not going to change. It's going to worsen, and we're going to keep looking back and thinking that tomorrow we'll be romanticizing the past while doing nothing about the future. And every one of us, it's in our hands the kind of country that we want, whether it's a country that works for everybody or a country that works only for a few.
Thanks very much, Aisha Yesufu, our guest on the People's Parliament today, being powered by Rescue Nigeria. I love the fact that you talked about the tyranny of the minority. I like that you touched on the value challenge that we have in Nigeria, that good people with good character are being mocked. This event is about what must change for Nigeria to work, practical steps in this challenge of values and the tyranny of the minority. What then must we do practically, Aisha, so that
the first thing that we must do practically is to change our mindset. Change our mindset and understand that the fact that so let me just go back a little bit. You understand, for us to get to what we want to see, we need to understand where we are coming from and the reason why we have come from those places and what has happened. We have a lot of part of the issues that we have in Nigeria is that we lack empathy. We lack empathy for each other. When something is happening to any part of the country, the other part we look as if it's none of their business. When something is happening to your fellow citizen, we think it's none of our business. So that's a major issue. We need to stop that. We need to begin to make everyone's business our business. Anything that happens to one Nigeria has happened to all of us Nigeria, and whether we like that person or we do not like that person, we'll come out and make demands and ensure that the right thing is done. We need to also understand that we have a shared humanity and social contract with our government, that the government is supposed to do certain things. And so when people are calling upon government to do the right thing, don't attack them. Don't wait until when it now happens to you. Then you now be looking for those people that you've been attacking before to come and now speak on your behalf. So that's one thing we need to do. There's also a misplaced anger that Nigerians have. You are angry at your fellow citizens who owe you nothing. Meanwhile, the people who you voted into office, who you are even paying to do the work for you, that are not doing them, you are not angry at them. So we need to do something about misplaced anger and know that our fellow citizens do not owe us voices. They owe us nothing. It is for us to hold those who have been voted into office accountable. We also have a short-term memories, which is what has brought us here, where people forget what has happened before. We must begin to keep records of what has happened. History is very important. And when people show us who they are, we must believe them. Stop romanticizing things. Stop idolizing issues of people and thinking that, oh, this person, he will change. He really doesn't mean it, or she really doesn't mean it. No, they mean it. And if they've shown you who they are, just believe that. Also, our lack of performance in politics has also brought us here. And so that is also one of the things that we need to change. Every Nigerian must be a political activist. Every Nigerian must participate in politics. Every Nigerian must participate in governance. When we are talking about participation in politics, it's different from being partisan. You can participate in politics without being partisan. You don't have to belong to any party, but you must participate in the political process that leads to those who are going to be in governance that will lead to them emerging. And that's one of the things. We've got into a place whereby we ridicule the system. People tell you that, oh, election is dirty. Election is dirty. Yeah, but it's that dirtiness that is being used to lead you, and it has led us into lots of mud. So practical steps, every one of us must begin to participate in politics. I talked about political activism. What is political activism all about? Number one, if you know you have competence, character, capacity, you can lead, you're patriotic, you're courageous, you have what it takes to give Nigeria what they need, then you should run for office. Don't stay away from it. Run for office. If you can't run for office, fine. Not everybody is meant to run for office. Not everybody is interested in serving the people, being accountable to the people, and also of their time being taken away from them. The next thing you can do, you can campaign for people who are running for office. Look for the competent people that you know. Go out there, campaign for them, be on the streets for them, volunteer. We don't do these things. We just sit down, we are praying to God to come and fix our problem. It won't happen. That's number two. Yeah, you're campaigning. If you still are not doing that, you can help to raise funds for those who are campaigning. Like I said earlier, election is all about money, and we need to put our monies where our votes are. We must donate to candidates. We should not wait for candidates to bring their monies. The moment they bring their monies, it's already a business venture. Our politicians are in a business venture. They bring in their money. Some of them sell their houses. Look, I tell people, I'm a businesswoman and I do properties. I've been building since the year 2000. I actually built to sell. Every election year, the value properties, you can get properties cheaply. There are times, and I will digress a little bit and give you, I can't remember the year. I think that was it 2000 and what do we have now? 92, the last election was 2015, 2011 election. There was postponement. There was an election that was supposed to hold. I think it was National Assembly. And then they postponed it the day after. Do you know properties crashed? I remember my agent came to me with so many properties titles that were being sold for chicken change. Why? Because the election was cancelled on the eve of the election. All of these people, they spent their money. They have already paid the delegates and whatever people that are going to there, and they needed new funds to pay. And so they were selling everything up. So for them, it is a business. And when they get into office, they're not coming there to serve you. When you spend your money, the first thing you're going to do is that you're going to recoup your money and then you're going to make profit on it. And so that is what is happening. So every one of us, we must ensure that the people who are running for office, we are donating to them. So in that political activity, these are 4 steps that people can take part in. Take part in any one of them that you see fit. It's one of the ways that we begin to change what is currently happening in our country.
Right, thank you very much for that robust answer to that question. Let me recap quickly. You talked about how Nigerians can engage in political activism. You talked about campaign volunteering for aspirants, for candidates, campaigning for people, helping people to raise funds, donating to candidates as well, just generally getting involved. Participation is key for everyone. Thank you very much. I've got 2 more questions for you before I pan to something we've recorded from Sheung. Would our PVCs matter?
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, no, I'm just loving this election. This election, anything can happen. Nobody knows what is going to happen. It's going to swing in the face of people who believe in themselves more. We have a new electoral act. There are so many changes that politicians cannot just maneuver. You understand? The issue of electronic transmission of results is there. It has been settled. We've seen what this issue of the fact that what is it now? That if you're going to run for office, you have to resign. If you're an appointee, which some people are already feeling the heat of it. They've resigned, they've lost this thing, they can't come back and try and recoup that money or whatever. Well, the president can decide to bring them back again. That's another story. But this is something that is major. We've also seen the fact that where delegates, it's not where we used to have those thousands and thousands of delegates, it's not that much that you sort of like, how do I put it now? Decide how the process goes. So there's a bit of sanity. So votes matter, votes count, and every vote will be counted, and it's very important. When they tell you that votes do not count or your PVC do not matter, they are only selling a lie. They tell the people who they know that they cannot buy their votes, because there are 2 sets of people in Nigeria. There are people that their votes can be bought, and there's nothing you can do about it. If someone who is hungry, you're not going to tell them that, oh, don't sell your future when they don't even have a present. Somebody is about to die. You are telling me about future. Which future? There's no future. Future is only there for people who are alive. I'm dying now. You're telling me about my future. So those kind of people, they will sell their votes. There are people that no matter how much you bring, you can't buy their votes. Most of the people whose votes cannot be bought are the ones who stay away from the election. They don't go. They say votes don't count. If our PVCs do not matter, then politicians will not be spending money to buy our votes. So the PVCs do matter, and the PVCs, our votes are going to be counted. We have a new electoral act, and a lot of things have been taken care of by the new electoral act, and so it's something saying that what we need now is participation, is people believing in the system and actually coming out to participate. And we you know, I don't even know where to just say this. Let me just give another example. I participated in we had local government election, council election in Abuja. I think that was in February or thereabout. What happened was that when you come for that verification, you know, before they will use your thumbprint, now it's either your thumbprint or facial recognition. And if none of them is going through, you're not going to vote. So the issue of people maybe that have registered multiple times or people who have some weird things, it's not going to work. So now the people who are actually at the polling units, it's going to work. And now we have a situation, not like before where the card reader was not in law. Now it's recognized. You know, remember in 2015 when Wike went to the Supreme Court and the ruling was that the card reader is not recognized. That was why he could remain as governor, even though you see the number of accreditation that was done, but the number of votes was much more than the numbers that were accredited. But then the Supreme Court said that, well, the card reader is not recognized in the law, so we can't use the card reader. But that's not the case now. So for every PVC that you bring, you come, they recognize you, you vote. That's what will be counted. Whether they come to stuff the ballot boxes or they carry extra vote, you know, when they are changing the votes, you know, by the time they are carrying the votes to the collection center, sometimes votes will miraculously change. These things are not going to happen again. So for the first time, there's so much power in the hands of the citizens. The only thing that is holding the citizens back is their mindset. They believe that they don't have power. And you know, Henry Ford said something. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. Either way, you are right. Thank you.
Either way, you're right. If you think you can, you can. And if you think you can't, you can't. Thank you very much, Aisha Yesufu.
One of the things that we have in Nigeria is the fact that a lot of people are used to shortcuts. The shortcut mentality, the Indomie generation, the what's this thing? When you want to warm your food, you put microwave, you know, mentality. It's all affecting us. So people don't want to put in the hard work. And nation building can never be done through shortcut. Nation building is all about putting in the work, putting in the hard work, and you keep going. In nation building, it's never a sprint; it's a marathon. And that's one of the problems. You know, that we've really found ourselves in. A lot of people are not ready to put in that problem. And then we also have the issue of religiosity. In tackling the problem of Nigeria, in thinking about the things that we change, we need to find a way of tackling our religious institution. And I say this, our religious institutions are enslaving the people. The two major religions we have in Nigeria is Islam and Christianity. And both of them have gone in a way of enslaving the people. And I'll give you an example. I'm a Muslim. In the Muslim world, which is mostly in the northern part of the country, you get told that, oh, you know, don't hold government accountable. Protest is haram. You know, just wait. When you die, you go to the hereafter. You're going to enjoy. So whatever suffering you're suffering now, just enjoy it. There's another enjoyment that is waiting for you out there. And so the people have been kept oppressed. Then you go to the Christian world, which is mostly in the southern part of the country, where I am from also. So I'm a southern Muslim, so a southern minority Muslim from Edo State, Isako West local government. And so in the southern part of you're hearing things like, oh, why don't focus on government, focus on your prosperity, focus on your own miracle. Miracle is going to come, pray for your miracle, pay this tithe, sow seed. And people are sowing seed. You're sowing seed and doing nothing. And they forget the fact that God has said, faith without works is dead. If you sit down and do nothing, God is not going to do for you what he has given you the capacity for you to do for yourself. And so the people have been kept suppressed by this religious institution, the religious leaders. The religious leaders and the political rulers, they are working hand in hand. They need each other to survive. Where the politicians, the political rulers need the religious rulers to keep the people suppressed and not make demands on them, the religious rulers also need the political leaders to give bad governance so that they'll be able to sell cheap miracles. So you see somebody telling you that the fact that you got an American visa is a miracle. What's miraculous about that? Hey, you have money to pay for flight, you have money to spend it, they will give you visa, whatever, oh, you're a student, there's nothing. You find out that somebody will finish school in Nigeria today, they will carry their certificate and their NYC call-up letter, no, NYC discharge certificate, they will go and meet their malams, they will go and meet their pastors, they will go and meet their bibia, their babalawo, their brokers to pray for them to get jobs. So we've turned these things into like miracle. And those same people will not tell them that, look, the government, the economy is contracting, and that's the reason why you're not getting jobs. That's the reason why businesses are shutting down. They are not creating more jobs. More people are being more people are being unemployed, and so it becomes a problem. One of the things that we also need to do, and I say this to everybody, all the people, wherever I talk, that the education that we have is not for us alone. It's for millions of other people who were not fortunate enough to have education. Democracy without education is a disaster. It is a disaster. And so we have a lot of people who are not educated. And so we must begin to educate the people. And if I ask some of us that we're here together, how many of us have actually sat down to meet people who are not really that educated and to talk to them about politics and governance, to make people understand the relationship between their lives and governance? Many people do not even know the use of government. They don't know that government are supposed to do certain things. All they know is that if they have problem, they're going to call their family friend or relatives or whatever and say, my pikin is the sick, I need money for a medical, what do they call a medical, to make it go hospital now. Or my child is in school, they've driven away my child from school, I need money to pay school fees. They do not understand that there are certain things that government is supposed to do. And so it is our own duty, you and I, to sit down with them, not in a condescending manner, not with arrogance, not a sense of superiority, to come down to their level and sit with them and say, look, there's a contract, there's a social contract between you and your government. You give up of your rights to the government so that government will take care of your welfare. This is what is happening. For example, the woman that is selling ugu in the market, or the woman that is selling ice fish, she has spent years doing this, and she has been able to train her children through university, and they are now graduates, but they are at home waiting with her. They haven't gotten jobs. Some of them have first class, some of them have 2-1, some of them are very good, but they have not got jobs. Guess what? Why? Because they don't know senators, they don't know House of Rep members, they don't have connection. And then she's there busy thinking that, it is principalities and powers that have taken the jobs away from her children. She's thinking that it is enemies, it is village people. No, it's not village people, it's bad governance. If they were just being created by your government, if there was an enabling environment for everybody, your children would have gotten the jobs that they're looking for. These are the things we must begin to do when we're talking to the man who is selling suya, the man who is doing bricklaying, the man who is a cobbler, the woman who is selling ugu, the woman who is hawking at pure water, or the one who is selling akara. Every one of us, we must sit down and begin to talk to them. I'll round off. I don't know whether Funke said so, that I'll give her room to go ahead. Okay, so I will round up by saying that people must understand that every one of us, we have a circle of influence, and that circle of influence, we must begin to use it. We have control over our relatives in the village, wherever it is, and we must begin to talk to people and let them understand indeed what it is that is going on in our country. If we continue to just sit in our sanctimonious thrones and feel that, we can do what we want to do, and then if life is good for us, then everybody can go to blazes, then we will continue to have what we currently have in our country today, and that's really sad. And Fuke, before you come on, I'll just quickly say that, look, we do not respect the poor. The politicians respect the poor. Even if it is once every 4 years, they come down to the level of the poor. There's a quid pro quo between our politicians and the poor, where they are buying their votes, where they are giving them money and inducing them. We come from the place of being benevolent. So we play God and we play government, and we're feeling that, we are the ones taking care of your needs, and we can't come to your level and talk to you. Politicians know that at the end of the day, the masses also, especially a lot of people who are poor, whose poverty have been weaponized, whose illiteracy have been weaponized, they have a huge say. Because in a democracy, the vote of a professor in political science can be cancelled by the vote of somebody who has never been to the 4 walls of school, who has never gotten any education. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aisha. I believe Funke is still having issues.
Okay.
Yeah, she just dropped off again. While we try to reconnect her, I just want the attendees to know that Sheon Kuti has not been able to join us today because he's outside of the country and he was returning, but had a flight delay. So I'm going to play his voicemail, a little bit of it, just to keep you involved, because we now regard everyone who joins as a member of the team. We are all trying to rescue Nigeria together. So I'm going to play Seun's voicemail now.
We couldn't make it back on time. I'll still be flying in. My flight arrives, there's a bit of delay, so my flight is going to arrive to Nigeria at 6.
So I'm going to stop it there. Just that's just to be very transparent with everyone. We would still try to bring Seun back, maybe at the next People's Parliament. We need to listen to him as well. But I don't know how many people will agree with me. If you agree, just give me a thumbs up that Aisha alone has been good enough for today's event. You know, she has given us so much. And while we still wait for Funke to rejoin, I would pick it up from here. So, Aisha, my question is this. Where would you lay the most blame in where we are in Nigeria? Because there are two schools of thought. Some people believe that it is the followers who are the problems of Nigeria, and that's where the change has to happen. Some other people believe it is the leadership that is the issue with Nigeria, and that's where we have to put the most effort. Where do we start?
So on the issue of leadership and followership, at the end of the day, the box will always stop at the table of the leaders. And so they direct what happens in the country, and the people we follow. Nigerians are very docile people. They are very obedient people. And when certain rules are put down and they follow, Nigerians do follow. If I were to answer your question without the issue of whether it's leaders or whether we have a leadership problem or a followership problem, if you ask me who to blame, I would say parents. Parents are to be blamed, and parents cut across all the generation. I'm a parent too, and so I'm also blaming myself where I failed. So parents are to be blamed for the current situation we have in Nigeria today, where people are docile. People have allowed themselves to be treated as slaves rather than citizens. People are ready to sit down and whatever kind of injustice, oppression, or suppression be meted upon them. Why am I blaming parents? The first set of oppressors, and that's the reason why you see that no matter what is done to Nigeria, that you think that they will react, they just stayed and enjoy it. The first set of dictators that Nigerians came across were actually their parents. As a child, you were told you're a good child when you were the kind of child who was docile, who never questioned anybody, who obeyed whatever you were being told, who didn't have a mind of your own, who just listened and just followed whatever it was that you were told to follow. So that made you a good child. For the children who had voices, who would question, who would say, why are they being made to do certain things, and who, when they sort of like hold their parents accountable, they were always called stubborn children and they were beaten. And of course, when these children left their houses, they went to school, the whole system continued. So they were oppressed by their parents, by their teachers, by the adults around them, and they grew into adults, and they simply replaced their parents by government and those in authority. And so therefore, no matter what was done to them, they accepted it. So that's, for me, that's my own thoughts. On the issue of followership or leadership, it's squarely the leadership problem. And let me give you an example. For example, in 2015, when the present president, Muhammadu Buhari, won election, a lot of things changed. Even when he was sworn into office, and there were a lot of changes where civil servants were coming to office early, nobody were asking people money at the airport and stuff like that. And that was when they were talking about the famous body language. Even though some of us you don't just wait on body language to run a country. And then when the people realize that, okay, this is same old, nothing. I remember even people who had looted money, some of them were returning loot back and stuff like that. When they realized that, it's still the same old, corruption ongoing and all of that ongoing. Please quote me anywhere I said that there's absolute huge amount of corruption in this government. And so it's not Rescue Nigeria that is saying, it's Aisha Yesufu that is saying, I live in Abuja and I'm in Abuja right now. And so when they realized that all of this corruption was going on normal, it became same old, and things continued the way that they have right now. So I would say that indeed it is a leadership a problem, not really a followership problem. Because if we have the right kind of leadership, we will now be able to get Nigeria to where we want to be. We are a blessed nation. We have a lot of good things going for us. It's just because we've not been able to have leaders who are focused on the next generation and not just the next election. There's something also I'll just quickly add on this, even though it's not the question that you've asked me, is to say, because today's is about what are the practical steps that we want to use. And for me, anybody that is listening, these are the things that I want to take away from this. One of the biggest problems that we have in Nigeria is that we think we are so disunited that we cannot be a country. So a lot of people are interested in, break up the country, separate the country. Even if we separate Nigeria to every family is a country, there will still be problem, because hey, in all our families, in all our towns or whatever, we all have all of these issues. The biggest thing we need to understand in Nigeria is that, first of all, we need to acknowledge our differences. Our differences make us richer, make us better. I mean, we have such diversity, and it's an amazing thing. It's a good thing. And so it's not such a bad thing. What we should be uniting on are our problems. The poverty in Nigeria is the same everywhere. The lack of security is the same. The lack of employment is the same. The lack of good quality education is the same. Good quality education today in Nigeria is dependent on the economic status of one's family. And for me, that's the biggest injustice we have in this country, where people, just because you are born poor, because education is the easiest way to break the shackles of poverty. Just because you are born poor, you're denied access to good quality education. No matter how intelligent you are, that intelligence and everything, your high IQ and whatever, is killed inside of you because you're not given the right kind of education. That's a major problem. And more people, generations and families are left behind in poverty. All of these problems are problems that we have. Why don't we unite on this problem, solve this problems, get these problems sorted out? Let's have a country where we have good healthcare system, good educational system, a country where there's security, there's job security, there's food security, there's a whole lot of things going on. Then we can now come back and say, okay, well, bros, if you say me I be Muslim, you be Christian. Or okay, if you say me I be Edo woman, you be Akwa Ibom man, or you be Bauchi woman. You understand? Then we not look at our differences. We have too many problems that we need to focus on, that we should not even be thinking about our tribes, our religion, and all of those. Those are personal issues. Who you worship is your business. It's not my business. And who I worship is my business. It's not your business. That's the way we should go with it. Another thing also is the fact that people are so invested emotionally when it comes to politics. Nigerians are attacking each other over politicians who do not care about them. Politicians don't care about the citizens. They care about their common interests, and they will align when it comes to their common interests. We saw what happened yesterday. We saw 2019, where Wike practically carried Tambuwa on his head, carrying him out like he wanted him to be the president to win the ticket, which he ended up not winning. But what happened? Wike, I saw a tweet where somebody said Wike was the man of the match, because that was a decider. The fact that he stepped down and said, okay, all of you vote for Atiku, it made a huge difference. If Tambuwa has stayed and have garnered as much votes as he could from the Northwest bloc, Atiku might not have had as many votes as he had. And then Wike, probably you would have had a Wike being the candidate, the PDP candidate right now. But then, hey, what? There's no emotions. These people will go like this, go like that. Then why are we, the citizens, busy killing ourselves over people who do not care about us? Why are we carrying emotions into politics? I always say to people, politics is not a love affair. I have my husband, and I'm in an amazing, loving relationship. I don't need another person in my life. You are in your amazing relationship. You don't need another person. Or if you need, you're finding it somewhere. When we come to do politics, we should forget about who voted who in 2015. There are people who have carried for almost 8 years now. Since 2014, they have carried anger from 2014 all the way to 2022. They see people, they want to kill their fellow citizens just because they voted differently. Meanwhile, the people that were voted differently are doing bromance. Buhari and Jonathan are doing bromance. They are always in chilling together, having their fun in villa and everything. During the 2019 swearing in, their families were there, they were joking. People are angry. So if we need to make headway, we need to leave these emotions aside. I don't care whether you've insulted me before. I don't care whether we fought before. I don't care whether we don't need to like each other. But if our shared interests align, then we must work together and ensure that we get in the right people into office. I would say something also. For me, 2023 election, and this for me, the legislative arm of government is the most important for me personally. The legislative arm of government is the bedrock of democracy, and most times in Nigeria, we do not focus on it. The legislators are the ones who make laws. They have oversight functions, and they also hold the executive accountable. But in Nigeria, we really don't care because we are more so focused on who is the president, who is the governor, right? And from time to time, there are always by-elections. Oh, hello, welcome, Funke.
Yeah, Aisha, thank you very much for holding forth. I'm told you've been on fire since I was.
No, I mean, I can talk for Africa.
No, I know. I don't know if you've talked about you're talking about the legislature, but I don't know also if you've also mentioned restructuring in what you've said while I was away, constitutional reform. If you haven't, you might just have to say a word or two, or perhaps a paragraph about that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. So that's the restructuring and everything. I haven't spoken about them, so I'll just do that right away. So that legislative arm of government is the most important part. That's where the power is. The power is not with the executive. It's just in Nigeria where everything is upside down, and our legislators do not know the power that they have, that they are now being controlled by Ghana must go. And so they give up of their powers, and they are being turned anyhow by the executive. Restructuring is very important in Nigeria. We need to restructure. It's as simple as that. But guess what? The president is not going to be the one to give us restructured Nigeria. It's the legislative arm of government, both the National Assembly and the state houses of assembly. And even if we have a president, if we have a legislative arm that agrees that they want restructuring and the president doesn't want, they can veto the president. They can just forget about the president and use their two-thirds power to be able to pass it into law. The same thing with constitutional reform also. It's not the president that is going to give us a constitutional a new constitution. It is the legislative arm of government, which most of us, we do not focus on. We are not even interested. See what happened.
But Aisha, I understand what you're saying about the legislature, but we know what happened with the bills that were rejected by the same legislature, the bills for women, and where women had to go and occupy the NAS so that they can have a rethink. So I think the people are trying, but I think we have legislators who basically are not representing us well. They're just representing their interests. So women occupied the NAS to get them to rethink the bills that were thrown out.
Okay, so Funke, let me ask you, why should the Nigerian legislators, why should they work for you? Why?
The Nigerian legislature?
Yeah. Why should they work for you? Let me answer that question. You didn't vote for them. 99.99% of the people who are occupying the Nigerian legislative arm of government today would not have won the election if they had not come from the two major parties. We had credible candidates who were running under other parties, but Nigerians came out and said that it's only APC and PDP that will win, and they gave them their votes. So the loyalty of the legislators that we have today is not to the Nigerian people. It is to the power brokers who gave them the tickets of their parties. So they have nothing to do with you. They are not interested in serving you, and they've never hidden it. Because at the end of the day, they know it's not because of us that they got in there. It is because of the people that gave them the party tickets and also brought in money that put them there. If we, the people, want a legislative arm that will work for us, the people, then we, the people, must be instrumental in ensuring that the people who get into the legislative arm are from we, the people. Until that happens, we are not going to get any. I'm a very pragmatic person. If you don't pay the piper, you can never, ever dictate the tune. The people who pay them, let me give you an example. NSAS protest. The most heartbreaking moment for me of NSAS protest was when the Lagos State House of Assembly convened their meeting and they were doing dobale to one person there. They didn't care about the person who was killed. They were talking about somebody's properties that were burnt by the hoodlums that were brought in by government that overran the government. And then, so what happened for me, that was what broke me the most, that the legislative arm of God didn't care. If the Lagos State governor knew that if he invites soldiers to his state and soldiers kill people, that the Lagos State House of Assembly will impeach him, he wouldn't have dared it. And if we, the people, want to have that control, where we are controlling what the legislative arm of government is doing, then we must begin to put in the. I was at NBA and I said to all of them, what are you people doing? Where are our student union? Where are our professional organizations, the professional bodies? Where are our trade unions? They are nowhere to be found. ASU is busy crying that if they are on strike, right? When it's time for election, it is the same ASU member. You will see a professor will no longer know how to read numbers. They will be looking for torchlight in the daytime. Until every one of us will begin to take part. Even NBA, I said to NBA, I think that was last year, I was at one of their NBA conferences, and I said, how many lawyers are you sending to the legislative arm of government? They are not positioning themselves. How many lawyers are NMA sending so that when issues of medical issues, they will talk about it? How many doctors are NMA sending there? How many people are ASU sending so that when the educational issues come in, how many women are we sending right now? That's what I'm saying. We need to be deliberate in the things that we do. Let me give you an example, Funke, for you to understand how badly incompetent our legislative arm is. See how they threw themselves out of power. They are the ones who did this law, right? The new Electoral Act. But they didn't realize that they had disenfranchised themselves by saying that only those who were the delegates, they all were delegates and everything, that only those who were voted for on that delegate system that would be the delegates. They didn't realize it. The two arms didn't realize. Even when what do you call them? Civil society were saying to them, check this thing, see what you're doing. They didn't realize because there's no competence. So is it the people who will outplay themselves that you think that we give you anything good? If we want people that will give us the right kind of laws that we want, we must send it. We must be the one in charge of sending them to the legislative arm of government.
Thank you very much, Aisha. You know what I love most about what you said when you touched on professional bodies positioning for the legislature, intentionally sending people to go there and be the change. And that, I think, is a very important one. I was going to ask you, can the cycle of governance really get to the youths of Nigeria this way? But you answered the question in part by talking about positioning. But you see, the Nigerian youths are diverse in their ways and in their formations. Look at what happened to Banky W during the week. In the first instance, we were told he won. And then after how many hours and probably a day or two, we were told he lost. So if this continues, how can the Nigerian youth who have the population for Big Brother Nigeria, how can they make the difference and get to this legislature that you're asking for a special positioning for?
So the Nigerian youth, they are united and they have shown it during NSAS. The problem are we, the older generation, who want to carry our shenanigans and still give it to them. There's something I always say to, especially the younger generation. I say, kill the generational hatred that was handed over to you. They tell you to hate this person, that person, from this tribe, from that tribe. Did it work for us, the older generation? No, it didn't work for us. So don't even allow it. During NSAS protests, there were protests in over 30 states in Nigeria, across Nigeria. There was unity. But guess what? The older generation were the ones who came and started breaking up the youth with the North versus South issue, with the religious angle that were being brought in. Protest is haram and all of that. Remember, even the northern governors had the audacity to issue out a communique where they were thanking religious rulers, and I don't call them leaders, I call them rulers, religious rulers and the traditional rulers in the role that they played in using ethnicity and religion. This is something that was written out. It's not something they said. They brought out that communique to thank those people and the role that they played during NSAS. And so it's not that the youth are not divided. They've shown the Nigerian youth, they have intelligence. They are very intelligent. They have social media. They have a technology. They have shown the capacity to be able to network and come together and make things happen, which was what they did during the NSAS protest. And they've been positioning themselves. If you look around, that was my first statement. That was the thing I made. That's the beauty. And I did a tweet the other day. I said, I love what is happening. If you see how glad I am, the way the Nigerian youth are positioning themselves, they are aware about the politics. They are interested. They're invested. They are going in. They are doing that. Remember, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's not going to happen overnight. What happened to Banky W is the shenanigans of the older generation, which unfortunately we are part of. Because he had won this election, it was shown, they counted it, but of course it's PDP. Remember, 16 was greater than 19, is it 2014 or thereabouts? So it's something that we know, this is something that they do, and it has nothing to do with the youth. It has everything to do with the older generation. I see a lot of people who say to the youth, oh, participate in politics, and I say to them, the youth have always participated in politics. They are the ones who are being used to attack people on social media. They are the ones who are running around. They are the ones who are writing the speeches, who are doing everything. When the person that won the PDP primaries today, what happened after the last primary? Even he went to Dubai to go and chill. And he comes back, he walks into and takes off for where he was. There are youth who are in PDP who held those parties together all those years. But guess what? When he now wins election or whatever, if he wins election, what they normally do is that they will sideline those youth. We've seen them with APC. The last time we saw APC youth coming out to even do protests against other people because the appointment wasn't coming to them. They will now go and look for somebody that will go and be dusting their suit from one that has turned dusty, that have been out of employment for years. They will bring them in. So the thing for me, it's not really about the youth. The youth of Nigeria, with all the limitations that they are being faced with, the fact that we've not given them enabling environment for them to grow and for them to thrive, they have carved out niches for themselves and they're doing so well. And yet we are the ones who are not allowing them to continue to thrive. I think the issue should be with us, not with the youth.
Right. Thank you very much. An engaging 1 hour with you. We started at 5 minutes past, and it's exactly, it's about 5 minutes past now. 1 hour robust engagement with our panelists. Can we have a thank you? Yes. Well done in the chat box for Aisha Yesufu, our panelists for today. This bi-monthly engagement, the People's Parliament of Rescue Nigeria. At this point, thank you. Everyone is saying thank you to you, Aisha.
Thank you, everyone.
So
thank you. I can't reply you because I'm using my mobile phone. So I thank you, everyone.
Right. So we move on to the open air now. We will do the interactive session now. And I'm going to call on Tunde Odediro to start first for us. He's got a question for you, and then we'll take all the other questions. Remember, once you are unmuted, please go straight to your question, make it brief so that Aisha can respond to them. So can we have Tunde Odediro first, please?
Yes, thank you very much, Funke. And you answered a little bit of the question I have. I've had, I think it's Afe Babalola who said that there should be an interim government. I've also had some other statesmen say that there should be a government of national unity, that it is pointless going into the 2023 election because it's not going to produce any change. Do you think it's worth going into an election, or should we just dismantle everything and try to rebuild?
Of course, for me, it's worth everything going into election. This democracy that we're enjoying, a lot of people died for it. For those of us who knew what the elections were before even 1993 election, there were a lot of people who died. Before then, people paid the ultimate price for this democracy that we enjoy, and we should not be lazy and be looking out for easy ways to go instead of us putting in the work that we need to put in for our democracy. And so we need to put in the work. When we're talking about this interim government, who are going to be the interim government? Who are they going to choose for? Is it not same old? And then the oppression will continue. I get back to my first child in 1999, and he's a son. Just before he was born March 30th, 1999, and by May 29th was when democracy started in Nigeria. So he was just like a few months old into the military era. My son doesn't know what anything that is not democracy is all about. All what he knows is democracy. And then now somebody is going to throw him back to something called unity government or a government of national interim government. Or no, let's keep those things aside. What we need to do is put in the work. Let's start from, so let's be deliberate. One of the things we've never been is that we're not deliberate. We're a nation that believes in miracles. That's why you say to somebody, you say to somebody, let's do A, B, and C for Nigeria. And the person will say to you, oh, you know what? It's only God that will make Nigeria work. And then the next breath, the person is either asking you for money or is sending money to you. I would just say to the person, why don't you just stay at home and not send this message for me and just wait for God to make it work for you? We cannot sit down and do nothing and expect that God is going to do for us. God will not do for us what he has given us the capacity for us to do for ourselves. He has given us everything we need to build a great nation in terms of mineral resources, in terms of human resources, in terms of the land mass, the arable land mass we have, the kind of things we have in Nigeria. They're so amazing that people can build. We can be top 10 countries, top 5 countries in the world, but we've been too lazy to do the right thing. I think what we need to do is to put in energy, and let's start from even the legislative arm of government. Let's leave. You say the executive arm of government is very expensive to go into. It's cheaper with the legislative arm of government, and the politicians are not very invested in the legislative arm of government as they are in the executive arm of government. And if you want to fight somebody who is stronger than you, you start from where they are weak. You don't go to where they are strong. We want to go and fight them only in executive, president or governor. No, start from those legislative arms. Before they know what's happening, we are picking up the seats. Whenever there are by-elections happen all the time because people die, elections are cancelled. There are some people that it is less than 10,000 votes that took them to the National Assembly, and they are controlling our lives. What will happen to our lives? So if we begin to look at these things and begin to work towards getting this thing, we will change that Nigeria. Even if we say interim government, it's not the same people that will be interim government. Some people got military government, and military government worked for them. The Rawlings of Ghana did a lot of things for Ghana. What did the Abachas of Nigeria do? Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Aisha. Ademola, I was just going to say, please raise your hand if you'd like to ask a question. I see Ademola again. Can we please unmute him? Please go straight to your question, make it quite brief. Ademola again, you can ask your questions now. Please unmute yourself. We also have Titi Lokwe and Ifo there. Can you please unmute Ademola Ige and Titi Lokwe?
Ademola Ige is unmuted.
Okay, Ademola, please, let's hear you. Can you unmute yourself?
Yes.
Hello?
Right.
Yes.
Yes,
yes, I believe that one of the problems we have in this country is the inaccurate population census that we have. The inaccurate population census have been used to manipulate figure. When you have a state having voters, more than 6 states in a section of the country, we need to go back to this. I don't know what Aisha will say about this, please.
Right. Inaccurate population census. Let us quickly take Titi Lokwe and Ifo. Then Aisha.
Okay, thank you very much. It's always a privilege to listen to leader Aisha Yesufu. So last week I was at an NYSC camp where we had so many corps members, and we were trying to get the permission of the officials to get in to help the corps members to register. And the officials were like, no, most of them, they work with INEC and what have you. Anyways, in the long run, we're able to gain access to the core members. And we visited different CDS groups, and only about 2% of the core members actually have their voters card. I was completely disappointed considering the number of conversation that we have been having on social media. So my question for Comrade Aisha Yesufu is, how can we actually move this talk, this conversation? Because already everyone can attest to the fact that young people are more politically aware. But from my experience, how do we move the conversation into action? Thank you.
For members. Thank you very much, Stilope and Ifewushe. Yeah, so Aisha, can you respond to the two questions? One on population figures and the other one about youth corps members and moving the conversation further with them.
Okay, thank you so much. On the there've been so many issues on the issue of population census, and a lot of people do say that Nigeria is not as populous as it is made out to be, because at the end of the day, a lot of people use population because it's something that they can manipulate and be able to get certain resources or get there's a whole lot of advantage the more populous you are. But in terms of voters, so I'll still come back to, in terms of voting, I'll still come back to this current electoral act that we have, that if you like, you can have 1 million, you can have 10 million registered voters, in your place. But if they are not really, how do I put it now? If they are not real voters, on that day of election, accreditation will not happen. And what we have right now, situation whereby we can use the what's that thing called? Card reader. It is what the card reader, the accreditation by the card reader that will be used against the number. So that in a way, it will limit the whole issue of manipulating. One of the, and I think, let me just point out something in terms of when we have like our voters registered. I, for one, have been one of those. I'm interested in, can we even do a whole new registration? Because the voters register is so bogus. You are not sure of the people that are there. And the biggest problem we have is when we are trying to recall a lawmaker. The law says that you need more than 50% of the registered voters, which you are not even sure are actually registered people, or they just manipulated things. You know, in this register has been coming for like how many decades? It's over a decade that we've been coming along with it. And then you're told that when somebody gets voted into office, even though it is 30% or less that got them into office, you need to have over 50% of the registered vote. And for me, one of the things that I've been calling that I wished I had seen, which has not happened in this electoral law, but of course, law is dynamic, you keep changing them, is the fact that we need to have a situation whereby it is 50% of the votes that somebody got that made the person to win, that the person that we should use to recall the person. If you're saying it's 50% of the registered voters, we'll never be able to, because we have a lot of these bogus people that are there in terms of that population. Another thing also, you find that population is merely what is being used in terms of, in terms of ward, in terms of, I can't remember what I think, is it the one they call, is it gerrymandering? I don't know, I can't remember the word now. In terms of when you're dividing the the wards, the like House of Rep members, the different.
That's the correct word, gerrymandering, yes. Okay,
that's the correct word, right? Gerrymandering. You know, those of us that they used to laugh at me when I was in secondary school because I couldn't speak English. I don't know how to pronounce a lot of words, so I avoid them. So that's gerrymandering. So what normally happens is that, because people move, one of the things we've not looked at is the fact that a lot of people in places where there's insecurity, especially in the northern part of Nigeria, a lot of people have moved from a lot of places where you now still have the same numbers being kept there and being used. These are some of the things that we need to revisit. And I think that's what Ademola Ige is talking about. These are issues that we really need to go back and revisit them so that we are drawing up. We cannot have people where people have been driven away, they are no longer there, but yet they are having, when it's time for them to send House of Rep and House of Senators and whatever to the National Assembly, they still sending the same numbers, whereas some other places like Abuja are becoming more and more overpopulated, and yet they are still retaining the same one senator or something like that. So it's an issue that we really need to look into. And of course, data is the wealth. Data is today's wealth. You cannot do anything without data. In terms of, we don't even know how many we are. How are we going to plan for the things that we have? But you know what? When we're able to have competent leaders into place, and regions will understand that they have what it takes to grow. There's no region in Nigeria that cannot survive, and not only survive, but do very well in Nigeria. So this dependence on the central for money, and that's why people will try to manipulate and do all sorts of things. Those things will be reduced more, and it will be more focused on every region developing itself and being able to stay together loosely. On the issue of Titi Lopez question.
Let me jump in here. You have to make it short because we have two more questions, and then we have two people waiting to ask you questions, and then we have to take some of the questions in the chat boxes. So make your responses shorter. Okay, I will, please. Thank you. So on the issue of the issue of many people are not interested, as long as people do not realize the relationship between governance and their lives, nothing is going to happen. And for me, I believe there are people from the diaspora here. See, all this issue of we are always sending money back home. If somebody does not have PVC, don't send them your money. We continue to play God and play government in people's lives. It's entering our head. Oh, we solve their problem or whatever. They will not take responsibility. Why would they get PVC when they know they can meet somebody and ask to get a job, or they will ask for money, or one thing or the other? They don't understand the importance of governance in their life. People must begin to understand the importance of God. We must do tough love. If somebody is not going out to go and get their PVC, or they don't go out to go and vote, don't send them money, don't give them money. When they come, tell them to go and do the right, because they cannot continue to allow people who are incompetent be in place and continue to destroy the nation and keep being problems to other people. The reason why they are not picking their PVC is because they don't think there's an incentive for them to do it. Right, that's it. The worst of us are leading the best of us. Even the best are trying to join the bandwagon of the worst. Why? Get rich quick mentality. Politics is not a question. It's about stewardship. You go there to serve and not to be served. We must destroy this sense of profiteering in politics. That's Crofts for us there, W. Crofts. That's our thinking there. Let me take Kenny Akintoye. His hands has been up for quite a while now, and Judy Adeyemi as well. But let's take Kenny Akintoye first.
All right, thank you for the opportunity.
I'm hearing two voices.
Yes, I'm hearing some interference as well.
Kenny Akintoye, can we have you now?
I can proceed now. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Right. The past elections in Nigeria, Nigerians have had to choose between candidates we did not really want or we didn't really believe in because of the process through which candidates emerge in our political parties. So I believe one of the biggest problems in our political system is the process of emergence of our candidates for the general elections, even at the parliamentary level. Now, I am not a believer in multiple parties. I feel that we don't need to have a lot of parties. What we need to do is to fix these two parties or three or four parties, major parties, and make them do the right thing. Now, in fixing this problem of emergence of the wrong set of people every time, or the recycling of the wrong people every time, what would you recommend? I think, do we work our ways to start becoming delegates, or do we work harder on the Electoral Act to insist on the direct primaries as a process for candidates to emerge? There are options out there. So I'd like to know what Madam Aisha would recommend to Nigeria. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Kenny. Let's take Judy Adeyemi also, so Aisha can take the two questions at the same time. Judy Adeyemi, please.
Yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity. I want to commend everybody. I want to start by saying that as we get it wrong when all of us are concerned about voting during general election. Because when we vote during the general election, you are left with the option of what the party put ahead. Meanwhile, as against speaking English, we all need to join the process. So I started the journey to the House of Reps 2 years ago. And in 6 months, you can go to Ibadan North East and Southeast Federal Constituency. GDADMA has become a movement. We played a different kind of politics, and the system demanded that, oh, this is somebody we can follow. Fine, I did not win the primary because they said, oh, we have to give the primary to the son of a former governor and what have you. We fought all of these. At the end of the day, they manipulated the delegate list. If they had not manipulated the delegate list, I'll be speaking as a candidate now, not a former aspirant. What do I now need from our friends and everybody is that let's get more of us, infiltrate the system. Let's be, over time, we'll become more than these people. As of today, they can't do anything in my ward without me. They cannot take any decision. So if we have 12 wards in Ibadan Northeast and we have 20, 30 of us with purpose-driven ideas, and then we get into that stage where all of us can take decision, we will determine who the delegates are, and then we can decide and vote right. People were willing to vote for me without money. Some of them said, Honorable, don't worry, we'll collect their 50,000 naira, but we'll vote for you. So we need more people. The only way the best of us can rule us is only if there are more best of us in the system than worst of us. But as it is, I see people running away. Everybody say they are tired. We cannot be tired. We all need to come and join the system. And please, don't join a political party that will not win election. It has to be any of the main political party. But we must bring our friends, convince them. That's the only way we can change the narrative. Without that, we'll come back to sing the same song we are singing today in another 4 or 5 years. The last thing I'm going to say is that the mistake people like me make was that I would make more impact if all the works I did in Ibadan North East and Southeast, and if I was not running for election, maybe all of us have to change our style, go into the system, not necessarily contesting, do some work of 8, 4, 5, 10 years, and then the system will even demand for us. We can influence the system more if we are participating and not necessarily asking to be on the ballot. And that way, we can put one of us forward and change the system. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Judy Adeyemi. I think you and Kenny Akitoye are almost on the same platform. But yeah, let's hear Aisha Yesufu's views on your comments.
Thank you so much. I think I will start with Judy Adeyemi, what he has said. So you said all you said, and you ended it with, do not join political parties that will not win election. Is it about winning election? So you think when you say, and that was why I said earlier on, I said when people said it's only APC and PDP that can win election, you've given up of your power. And that's what he has just confirmed now. You come to say, oh, who determines who wins election? Is it the parties that determine who win election, or is it the people that determine who win election? Just from that, your statement, you have shown that it's not the people. So we are supposed to go in and it's the party that we did. And the party also hear us loud and clear when we say these things. And that's why they will arrogantly push you away and put the son of somebody else, even if that person is not qualified, because they know fully well that whoever they put into, they give the party ticket is the one that the people will vote for. And when the person who is giving that party ticket gets in, he will not work for the people, he will work for the party brokers that gave them the ticket. Do you understand where we are? You just summed up the mess that we are in. And if we need to get in, we have to learn, unlearn, relearn, and unlearn and learn again. That's where we need to be. Because as it is now, people feel that not everybody needs to participate in election. Let's stop that. There are people who are ready to serve. And at the time they are ready to serve, not just to go in and participate because you want to win election. If you go and okay, I've removed it. It was my tweet. It was my this thing. A lot of people have come to me. Parties have even like for like, oh Aisha, you need to run for office. I'm like, no, I'm not going to run for office because I think I can win. I'm going to run for office because I think I can serve and serve so well that 100 years after I leave the office, there are people who will say, Aisha Yesufu once served and she did a great thing. Otherwise, anything less than that for me is failure. It's not even for people of today to say, oh, you did well. It is 100 years after I leave office. How will the people score me That's what I'm working for. It's not to say that, oh, I win and then I'm called honorable or I'm called a senator. Of what use is that? So we need to remove this mindset of thinking that, oh, it is only political parties that can win that we should be joining. Oh, when some certain candidates come, some people are already saying that, oh, if they don't vote APC and PDP, that they are going to waste their vote. Let me tell you, a waste of vote is when you vote person who does not have the capacity to be your leader because you are afraid that the other person who has capacity to be your leader is in a party that will not win. That is the actual waste of vote. And I've said to people before, people are the structures. The parties are not the structures. The structures the parties are using are the people. And when people decide that this is who they are going to, whatever party that have good candidates, if for example, I think it's Adeyemi, your party knows that if they, and your people have told your party that if they do not give you the ticket, that you will go to another party, and any party you go to, that's where they will going to vote, and that's where you're going to win. Guess what? That party you are in today, they will sit up. Then if we keep saying that they are the only ones, oh, please infiltrate them. There are already people who are in these parties. That's what earlier I said, the youth are already in this party, women are in this party, people, but they are used for the Jackie work. When it comes to giving them tickets, they don't. Okay, one of the things, and which probably is too late now, that for the last 2 years I've been calling over, is that the youth of these political parties, whether you are in APC, PDP, white people, whatever, unite together and say to these older people in the parties that if these are the number of seats that we want, these are the things we want, sit down and have negotiate with them and say, if you don't give us these things, we are not going to work for this party. But they never did that, because they would rather be fighting each other. So this is a bit more, so sorry about that. So for me, the people coming into I will hurry up, I know, but this one was a bit something I felt I needed to really touch on, because we keep doing the same thing. We keep making our minds that we are nothing. We don't have the power. It's the parties, the power brokers that have this thing. Kenny Akinto has said something. Internal democracy, honestly, that's the biggest problem we have in Nigeria, with the politics of Nigeria. I was part of a campaign team in 2018, Dr. Obieze Kwesile's campaign team. I was part of it, and I saw what the whole political system of Nigeria is all about. And that's why when she left, we now started the fixed politics that is ongoing now. We need to be able to fix those internal democracy on the issue. Yeah, it would be better if we have two parties, but that would be when we have people with character in the political system. Right now, we don't have. What we have are charlatans in there. We don't have people who are upright, people who are not thinking about their selfish interests or their focus on the nation. So when you have a two-party system, they just hold the power. It's more or less like a dictatorship. I can tell you APC and PDP are the same. They only have two different offices. That's why you see them after their whole election, they will move from here, move to there. In the morning, you don't know who somebody is. In the afternoon, you don't know who that person is. And so this is what happens with the two-party system. With the multi-party system, okay, some people can go and form something and start something. What we now need to do as citizens is that we need to begin to look for candidates rather than parties. The parties that give us better candidates, we should look for them. We should no longer choose between the lesser evil. We should choose between the best among the best. And there are parties who are giving us, we should remove this fear. And please, let me tell everyone that is listening, a party with structure will also lose the election. So loss now, loss. Thank you.
Loss now, loss. The chat box is bustling with comments, and I'm going to come back to that. Aisha, I must thank you very much for your candor, and look, you are brilliant. You've been brilliant all the way. Let me quickly recognize Mr. Mukhtar Bakare. He was our distinguished panelist 2 months ago when we talked about what will change about Nigeria. I understand he's with us this evening, and I'd like him to say a few things, whether he's making a comment or he's asking a question. Mr. Mukhtar Bakare, can you please unmute him for me? I'd like him to say something. Distinguished all the way, really robust views 2 months back when we had him here. Can we have Mr. Mukhtar Bakare, please? Please unmute him if he's still around. I hope he is. Is he? Is he not? While we're waiting for that, let me quickly recognize the presence of my friend and the CEO of the only woman radio in Nigeria, Tonwu Shania. Thank you very much for that kind comment about me the other time. Thank you so very much. Is Mr. Mukhtar Bakare willing to talk? Biodun Durojaye says there's a wide gap in terms of development and level of education. of the populace between the North and the South. This is a problem. What is your take on it? There's most of the younger ones. Yeah, Aisha already spoke about inheriting generational hatred. I see people determine who wins elections, and they win through a party with structure. There are 774 local governments in Nigeria. It will take a new political party. I'm sure that's what you want to say, Jide, to have 3 electoral cycles, to have a structure in 50% of the entire pool. Let's infiltrate these guys and fight them to a standstill. Now, that's a plan. I don't think Mr. Mukhtar wants to talk, or maybe he's gone. We are the people, we can decide who wins the election. Jude Adeyemi again says that people lack political education, awareness is low. We need to change their mindsets and let them understand the power that they have. We can continue to allow PDP and APC to rule this country. We, the people, are the structure. That's Mike's iPhone. Who else is talking? Mr. Mukhtar may not want to talk. I'm trying to quickly read some of the questions here and comments as well. A new message, and that will be it. iPhone, iPhone 1. Your Falegon here, okay. Pardon me, my handle shows iPhone 1. I was going to start singing for you. Are we rejecting the idea to influence these young people's parties to come together to face APC and PDP? Are we saying we should up on 2023 and let these 2 parties do their thing? Well, Aisha, I'm just going to give you 2 minutes to answer these questions. I know you've been writing, so that we can go to the final lap of this engagement. Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I hear the talk of there are 774 local government. That's where volunteerism comes in. A lot of people who are leaving school, there are a lot of people who start in other countries when they're even in secondary school, they're already volunteering in universities and all of that. We can find people who are ready to volunteer. There are about less than 200,000 polling units. You can have people who will decide that they are going to be all across these places. And so it's about doing the work. What people are expecting is that politicians will be the one to bring in money to pay people to go and be at polling units. That's wrong. You can decide that no, nobody's going to pay me, but I'm going to volunteer for a so person's party and keep going on it. W. Croft says something. Yeah, people want to give up because a lot of people don't want to put in the work. When we say it's possible, one of the things that I'm okay with people who say it can't be done. It's fine, but don't tell people who say it can be done that it can't be done. You understand? If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. Either way, you're right. Keep your thing to yourself. I'm ready to believe it can be done, and I'm ready to put in the effort. And for somebody like me, it's always about the effort. And at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, fine. Like I said earlier, a party with structure is also going to lose election because it's only one person. Every seat is only one party that will end up getting it. On the issue of how do we get bring parties together, you can't bring parties together. Parties are parties. There's no need of wasting energy on that. What you need to do is that identify in every place, identify the candidates and have a consensus around the candidates and go for them, whatever party that they are in. Don't forget, most of these parties that you are seeing, they are being owned by the major parties. It's players in the major parties that they just put. I'm a businesswoman. There's something that we do. If you have a place where your business is selling very well, you open a shop next to it so that a competitor will not come. That's why you see one shop. You'll be buying from 3 different people. You think it's 3, there are 3 different competitors. No, it's the same person. I would rather compete with myself than somebody else coming to compete. It's a strategy. And so they use it also with the party. So trying to say, oh, talk to them, whatever, it's of no use. By the time you're focusing on the candidates and say, where did this person go? They will now know that power, what they have now is they have slavishly enslaved the people to their party to believe that it's only party A or party B that will win election, forgetting that these parties, they also lose. So if the party that has structure loses and I lose, and then what? We, the people, are the structure, and the people must be ready to put in their thing. This thing is going to be like network marketing. You see Jehovah Witness, the way they work. You see those people that sell forever living product and people that sell tea and share and all of that, the way they work, that's how we are going to work. Let us do 1 for 5 votes. I will look your candidate, get one person that we vote for, get one person, you are voting for your candidate, get 5 people that will also vote for your candidate, and let those 5 people get 5 other people. That will be hashtag 5 times 5 and hashtag 1 for 5. This thing is about sense, this thing is about believing, this thing is about going on. Look, we will work hard the next 9 months. Let's give it our all. If we lose, we lose. But we will know we didn't just sit down and allow defeat, that we did everything we can to give Nigeria the great thing. And if it doesn't work, we will all suffer the next 4 years together. Now, whether you're in big party or small party, we will suffer it.
Thank you very much, Aisha Yesufu, active Nigerian citizen demanding for good governance, accountability, and transparency. She typifies the vision of Rescue Nigeria to fight for the common good of the nation. CEO, Citizens Hub, businesswoman. She's been sharing her business strategies with us. Thank you very much for a brilliant time with you this evening. Absolutely, I know that it can be done. It's demoralizing telling people it can't be done. People are pushing to make things better. It's trying to make the country better, that their effort is in vain. But tonight, this evening, Aisha has shared nuggets, gems of information and strategy with us. At this juncture, I'm going to ask Wale Croft to come in and share with us precisely what Rescue Nigeria is about. I know I talked about it at the beginning, but who can do it better than Wale Croft? Over to you now.
Funke, before you go over to him, please, I know I was told that I can go after 75 minutes. Remember when you called me, I told you that I have so much I'm doing. I'm supposed to turn in my paper before 12 noon tomorrow. It's my final paper for my LLB degree. I need to get it done, and so I'll be going away, please. Everyone.
Right. Is there, do you have... Let's appreciate Aisha before she goes. Let's just leave it in the chat box.
Thank you very much.
But do you have any last thoughts for us before you go? Last final words.
Thank you, everyone. What I'm going to say to everybody is that, look, we are already down. For those of us who believe that Nigeria can work, for those of us who believe that we can get a country where the child of nobody can become somebody without knowing anybody, for those of us who know that we can proudly hold our passport, green passport, and walk around the world and be proud of the fact that we are Nigerians, please don't give up on Nigeria. They told us that it cannot be done. Remember what Nelson Mandela said. He said that it is impossible until it is done. And when we get it done, they will see that what they thought was an impossibility will actually become a reality. Let me tell you something. The best place that you can be in is when you are told that you cannot achieve anything. We're already down. We are as low as we can get in Nigeria. There's no value for Nigerian life. So anywhere we can go is up. We can't go lower than this. So please forget the people who are telling you that it can't be done. Let's put in our effort. Let's give it our all. And at the end of the day, we will look back and we'll have a Nigeria that will be there for all of us. That every one of us we enjoy. And I must say this, Nigeria must work in our lifetime. Those who say it cannot work in their lifetime, that's their own business. But for us, it must work, and it will work by the grace of God. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Aisha. Everyone is saying thank you. Thank you. Brilliant time we've had with you. We wish you all the best as you move on to your other engagement. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
We thank Aisha for a beautiful presentation, and most of what Aisha said is actually what Rescue Nigeria believes in. When we started just before the NSAS protests, we made it clear that one of the major things that needs to change for Nigeria to work is that we must change. There's a need for a change of mindset, because mindset is one of the major things that's keeping us down. Okay, so let me just follow the presentation, the slides. So Rescue Nigeria is an initiative, we operate under the aegis of the Initiative for Good and Informed Citizenship. That's the name under which we are registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission in Nigeria. We are a movement of people united by the common goal of building a strong and successful nation out of what we have today, which is a country that is not working. We are not a political party or association, and we are not connected in any way to politicians, but we want honest politicians to be elected. in the last few months or thereabout, we've seen some politicians trying to attach themselves to our brand, and we want to re-emphasize that we are in no way connected to any political party or politician or association. We just want honest politicians to be elected. So why Rescue Nigeria? We believe that Nigeria has potentials to succeed. We have all that it is required for us to succeed, but as we are now, we are more or less heading towards becoming a failed state. So for Nigeria to succeed, the citizens need to understand the fundamentals of our challenges and take action to put the right people in the right positions. The vision of the movement is to bring together millions of educated Nigerians. Actually, our target is to have 10 million Nigerians who believe in what Rescue Nigeria stands for. And that means that, first of all, they must commit to becoming model citizens, to doing the right things, and to also, we have a pledge that new members have to subscribe to when they want to join us. And one part of those is that you must commit to doing the right thing at the right time, and you must commit to serving as if your life depends on it if you find yourself in a public office. And by public office doesn't really mean that it has to be an elective office. If you are a civil servant, you are interfacing with the people in any way, you are in public office, you must serve as if your life depends on it, because at some point in time, your life might actually depend on it. So there are other parts of the pledge that is available on our websites that those who want to join will see and will have to subscribe to before they can join. So now, for those who want to join us, you can register to become a member at rescue.ng. That's our site. That's our website. You can find a lot of information there. Like Aisha said, we want to be everywhere. Like I said, we want to have 10 million Nigerians as members between now and 2023. And we want to have everybody, we want to have people all over Nigeria. We want to organize so that at the end of the day, we can become, the movement that will bring about the change that Nigerians desire.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I suppose that's Mr. Biodun Durojayi there. And with that, we've come to the end of the People's Parliament for this evening. And the next 2 months, we'll return with another fiery, fierce guest. Today, it's been a brilliant outing with Aisha Yesufu. And I'll just do a quick recap of some of the unforgettable quotes, things that I would rather call words of marble. She said, history is so slow when you're living it. And she attributed that to Nelson Mandela. She talked about Stephen Biko's quote as well. And she said, again, we have an issue of values. And she spoke extensively about changing our mindset. One of the things that I won't forget in a hurry is the phrase, tyranny of the minority. She also talked about volunteering, being participating. And she said one thing again, she said, I'm not going to run for office because I can win, but because I can serve, because I want to serve. Aisha said a lot. She also said something about killing the generational hatred that was handed over to us by the other generation, the older generation. Loads of things I can't wait to watch or listen to the replay. Thank you very much for all those who dropped comments and all those who asked questions today. We had a brilliant time, didn't we? Let me see your comments. Let me see you say how much you enjoyed this session today. Just tell me, great, then I know that we're on the same page. On behalf of Rescue Nigeria, the organization behind the People's Parliament, my name is Anike Ade Treasure. Thanking you for sharing your evening with us at Rescue Nigeria and asking you to come back in 2 months' time. It will be fantastic. This is the end of the session. will be back in 2 months, and someone is saying 2 months is too long. Let's see whether Rescue Nigeria will rethink the duration. But yes, we had this 2 months ago. I look forward to another time with you again. I'm your host, Anike Ade Funke Treasurer. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye now.